Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves, challenge rating 0. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian. I play Hector the Gatekeeper.
Hey, I'm Beth. I play Rilla Longshadow.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker. Michael Parker playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. How's everyone doing today? Is everyone good? Ready to continue this adventure? We're doing all right?
Probably.
Great. Fantastic. Great.
So is this for the audience?
I mean, yeah, we're recording the show now. They'll be hearing this going on.
It's just a weird thing to be like, how are you doing when we've been sitting here for 40 minutes?
I mean, yeah, there's a warm-up period, but I figured, now we could let the audience in on how we're doing in our lives, but that's fine. Let's keep it professional. You're right. When last we left our heroes.
Oh.
Hector, Rilla, and Zurabak had finally made it out of the treacherous high pass in the mountain range known as the Gate. You had descended to the broad, vicious desert known as the Raging Sands, expanse of shifting sand dunes constantly moving under the fury of gigantic sandstorms raging across their surface. You had made camp with your party, the Bard Sebastian and the merchant Rilla, the merchant Inga Hilltopple. My apologies.
Congratulations on being a merchant.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
a new profession. It's always great. And you had leveled up, gained some new abilities, some new spells, some new skills, and you had also received a tarot card reading from Inga Hilltopple. Very, very, very grim, dark portents for each of you. And you had met on your travels a runner, a messenger tasked with
Black Horse of Death.
A lovely centaur named Colt with a lovely twang and a cowboy hat who relayed a message of great import to Rilla from her missing aunt Arifin.
Like a stranger in the night he came.
Except it was day, but sure.
Do you not like hats? Is that it?
It's because it was like a stranger in the night that he came. It's a simile.
It was.
I'm not saying literally he came. He was a stranger that came during the night. I'm saying he arrived with all of the mysterious presents as a stranger in the night.
Is this like a centaur thing, or
yeah,
is
that's what I was
this
about
like
to get about. Is he untrustworthy because he's not one thing? He's horse, but he's human, and
caught between two worlds and of neither one?
It is more complicated than I generally like, but
be one thing.
he'll betray us all to the horses one day.
Or the people? We're not sure.
So Colt had relayed a very important message to Rilla from her missing aunt Arifin, and also informed you that the next village on your journey north, the village of Blackrock here in the Raging Sands, had come upon some violence and is currently on fire. You all topped a rise and saw a curling plume of black smoke on the horizon that marks the town of Blackrock. So,
the messenger brings dark words of death and flame and blood.
So Hector, you like everyone, literally everyone, except for the centaur.
He thought the one was kind of a douche. I don't remember
But
his
he
name.
still liked him.
Kent.
He still said he was all right. Or doing what he
No,
thought
I
was
never
best.
said I didn't like the horseman.
His name is Colt.
I just don't trust the horseman.
His name is Colt.
Yeah, he doesn't get a name apparently.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. So,
I feel like that's racist.
I mean, yeah. I think that's what we're getting at. Hector's got a thing. Right there.
So, you all find yourself in the Raging Sands. You are standing on top of a gigantic sand dune, the enormous wagon of wonders that Sebastian travels with next to you, and the trade caravan of the Hilltopples stretched out behind you, pulled by their riding dogs, and you see on the horizon this column of black smoke. Inga approaches you all and says, "Well, that is grim indeed. It is quite a blaze, it would seem. I hope everyone is all right. A lot of money to be made in Blackrock. It's a normal part of our route through here. I think we should lend our aid if we may. Seems to be quite a bit away still, but I'm sure heroes like yourselves could do quite a bit of good. Let's get to it, shall we?" And Sebastian says, "Yes, let's weather the raging sandstorms and head to the town that is currently on fire. Yes, that sounds lovely. Another chapter in the epic tale of danger I found myself in."
Why did you leave?
Because
You're clearly not a good field agent.
I am Rilla.
Let's say not comfortable. You're not comfortable being a field agent.
Rilla Longshadow, I will have you know that I am the absolute worst field agent that the College of Everspring has ever produced. I'm not built for this in any way, shape, or form, but there's a shortage of available bards, and there's important work to be done, and I will say thanks to your help, which I desperately needed, we've been able to uncover the Stricken's grimoire and maybe make some headway. It's worth the risk to myself and all my possessions and my comfort and dignity.
Wait, you brought all your possessions?
It's a wagon of wonders.
I would have loved some things at home.
Well, I need all of my things with me so I can enjoy them on the road. I don't travel light.
Is your wagon your home?
I think that's obvious, yes.
So even at the Bard's College, when everyone lives in houses, you just live in a wagon?
I park my... Look, let's not get into this now. There's a town that needs saving.
Do you live in a wagon park?
The rent is very reasonable. Can we please go? Please.
I am going as we speak. This is us going and
Yeah,
talking as we go.
we're just
We can
Sebastian.
travel and talk at the same time, can't we? Damn it all. Thwarted again. Yes, I enjoy living a rambling lifestyle. Yes, I usually just ramble around the College of Everspring. There's some lovely paths and broad stone roads that I like to traverse in my wagon. It gives the feel of movement and travel, but they're well guarded and secured against monsters or really anything bad.
Man, you must have such a reputation with the students.
I would say I absolutely have a reputation with the students. Yes, Rilla, I do. Yes, absolutely. Have a reputation. That is very accurate. Yes. That's enough about me.
Hey, look, we're almost here.
Yes, it seems the village is getting closer as we speak. So yeah, after some.
Does anyone know how to put out a fire, like in general? Do we have any like summoning water abilities I'm not aware of? Like,
Rilla Longshadow, are you asking me how to put fires out? How old are you?
I'm just trying to figure out how much help we can be.
You grew up in the woods, did you not?
Yeah, where there's water everywhere. Not a desert where there's no water and we're heading towards things on fire. And I don't know how to find the water.
In my village, we have a resident firefighter, and I have learned much from him. Not really, I just assume. Look, you just hit the thing until it's not on fire anymore.
As you all speculate on how to put fires out, now I'm, as the dungeon master, am very nervous how this is gonna go. I'm very taken aback. By the way, none of our characters know how to put out fire.
It's gonna
Every
be great.
bonfire we've ever made, we just
Hey.
turn our backs to and hope.
I'm just saying.
Have you ever tried hitting a fire over and over? It eventually will go out.
I was merely trying to point out that we're in a desert and we don't have easy access to water.
Oh yes, this shall be a challenge.
Not that I don't know how fires get put out. Just that this one might be a bit more difficult.
I'm going with hitting it.
All right.
You
Whatever.
know, smothering it with sand works pretty well as well. So,
But
Let's
what if the
just-
sand's on fire?
Then we get glass.
Yes, that is how chemistry works, as you all speculate on how fires are put out by the gods. As you all speculate on how to be fucking amateur firefighters, and boy, I'm seriously very worried now. You top a rise far closer to the column of black smoke that is now towering. Before you, you top another quickly shifting sand dune formed by some of these crazy sandstorms raging around you. And you see a gigantic jet black spur of rock. It looks like the very top of a small mountain. It is 300 feet tall, this jagged spike of black stone, and against it looks to be what was a town, but what is now a firebrand. It appears from a distance. It looks like a lovely little town made up of wooden buildings. There seems to be a main street going through it and a couple side streets off of it. Nothing too big, maybe 20 or 30 buildings all told. Nestled up against this gigantic spur of black stone shooting up from the desert. You can see, even as this smoke is roiling up and being split by this black stone, that some of the sandstorms raging around seem to be blocked by this giant black rock and shelter the city from some of the worst of the storms. But before your very eyes, as you top this rise, a few hundred feet from the very outskirts of this city, it is absolutely ablaze. You see homes, you see what was probably a large, like 3-story inn. You see some shops just raging with fire. A lot of the buildings closer in to the center of town seem to have been collapsed at this point. Everyone roll me some spot checks as this horrible inferno comes into view.
Maybe that's just how it naturally is. On fire.
Zurabak, I can assure you, this was not the condition of the town the last time I was here.
15.
Also 15.
31.
Oh my god! Parker's just making up numbers again. I love it when he does that.
I rolled a 20. It's plus 11.
So, Hector and Rilla, yeah, you two notice that not only are the buildings close to the center of town completely collapsed, burned down to just ash, but there seems to be a large central flame. There seems to be a giant focal point for this fire. You can see the way the smoke is churning and swirling around, that the focal point for this giant inferno is definitely in the middle of town. It seems to have burned its way out from the very center in this broad courtyard in front of this large 3-story, it's probably an inn in the center of town. And you also don't see any people. You don't see any people at all running around in the streets. It seems almost completely empty. You can't really make anything out. The only building left partially standing in the center of town is this the remnants of this 3-story inn. It has foundations made of the same black rock that the town is nestled up against, and it seems to have weathered the worst of this inferno, but it is not good. And Zurabak, with your incredible sight, not only do you make this out, but you see something that catches your eye on the horizon. You see topping a dune far, far, far to your left. Far off, almost at the very edge of your vision, you catch a glint of the sun, almost like it's shining off of some metal. And you see what looks like a group of people clad in armor surging away from the town and topping a rise. You see the gleam of some metallic surfaces, some people that seem to be rushing away from the city in a tight formation, with some torches lit even in the daytime. There seems to be some flames and some smoke rising off of this body of people. You can't exactly count how many, but that you see that there is a force obviously moving away from this city. So with that being said, what do you all do? Sebastian says, "Oh my, this is worse than I had even imagined. This is terrible. We must try to save some of these buildings. There must be people somewhere in there."
I agree, and I would like to try and do a more in-depth search for survivors.
Fantastic. That will require you to approach the town and subject yourself to some of the dangers of the intense heat and smoke rushing through it. Do you approach the town of Blackrock?
Oh yeah, I do.
Rilla, are you going as well?
No.
No? Okay.
There's no one to save. If you find someone, I'll come forward, but
Well,
it looks
there's
like
a group
it's-
of people over there. Looks like they're leaving after setting it on fire.
what?
Yeah, Zurabak. By the way, Zurabak, way to share info. Holy shit.
He doesn't want to
That's
go into the town.
Right. So yeah, Zurabak points out, and you can now see there is a force of people rushing off. Inga says, "Oh my, that must be the firebugs that Colt was telling us about. Ugh, what sort of people would do something like this? I can assure you there's an entire town that lives here. There's people. They must be somewhere. If their bodies are not in the streets, thank the gods, they must be somewhere here. Helga, Olga, go. Take the dogs. Find anyone, please."
Do you want to do anything about the people running away, or are we just going to try and rescue the people here?
That is entirely up to you.
Friends.
What would you all like to do?
I am not saying anything because I'm already rushing into
Gotcha.
the town
Yeah.
to save lives. I'm rushing in. I didn't hear any of
Fantastic.
anything else.
Hey,
Fantastic.
Zurabak, what do you want to do?
Fire bad.
We're going to go check out the fire bugs?
Zurabak shrugs.
We're going to go do that and probably die, but it's fine.
So you want to go check out the group of armored people rushing away from the town?
Yes.
Okie dokie. So Rilla and Zurabak, you two are going to go check out the group of people that are rushing away from the town. They are moving quickly. They seem to be mounted. How are you going to go? How are you going to catch up to them? Your wagon train, and Hector, we're going to get to you in just a sec. I'm super stoked on your shit. Your wagon train includes Sebastian's wagon of wonder, pulled by 4 horses, all of which are required to pull his gigantic wagon. There are the 5 wagons of the Hilltopple caravan, all pulled by dogs. I don't believe either of you have mounts. How would you like to go about catching up to these folks?
I ask if I can borrow a dog. And then I transform myself.
Oh,
So that I
that's
fit on
the
the dog.
good amazing. Yeah, yes, because you have the alter self spell.
Yeah, so I just pop into a little halfling.
Fuck.
Or,
Yes. Yes. Here's what happens. You go up to Inga and you're like, hey, can I borrow a dog? She's like, my dear, you are a bit too large to ride one of our hounds. They're strong indeed, and no offense, but you're a little too tall.
Oh, that's easy enough to fix. And then I'm tiny.
You just snap your fingers and your form, because you've cast the Ultra Self spell, your form shrinks down into a 2'8" halfling. Do you try to look like yourself? Just shorter, like
About-
you, but
yeah,
halfling
yeah,
mode?
basically, yeah.
Okay. So you shrink down, you grow some hair on your feet, which is weird. it's it's a little odd, but yeah, you shrink down, and Inga says, oh, well, that should take care of that then. Absolutely. Here you go.
How are you going to move Zurabak?
Walk.
Okay, I'll go scout ahead. This
Yeah.
is even worse because I can't fight anything.
Yeah, Zurabak, what is your movement speed?
30.
30, okay. So you will not be able to catch up to these fools.
I don't want to catch up, but I do want to get a better view on them.
Okay.
My thought is they might have just taken the townspeople.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I wasn't planning on fighting them or anything.
yeah.
That just seems dumb.
Right. Well, so you on the back of your riding dog, you are fast enough to head out there and gain ground. Zurabak, you're just not going to be quick enough to go after him, so you can walk in that direction if you'd like, but they're hoofing it. So, Rilla, you take off after the group of folks rushing away from the town on the back of a riding dog. We're going to say Helga goes with you. So you have one of the outriders with you as well. So Helga, the black-haired daughter of Inga Hilltopple, rushes after you as you chase down who you assume are the culprits. In the meantime, Hector the Gatekeeper, keeper of the gates, you are rushing towards the town headlong.
Yes, I'm bringing Book with me.
Sure. You bring your trusty hound Book with you. Olga, the red-haired daughter of Inga Hilltopple, rushes after you on the back of her riding dog to offer support. You rush towards the town. There are sizable wooden homes built in the relative shelter of the giant spur of black stone that the town is named after, shielding it from the raging sandstorms that plague this region. They're lovely, like standard, wooden homes like these fucking lowlanders like. And they are almost all ablaze. There are simple dirt streets. It's not too sandy here in the shelter of this giant black rock. And all of these houses are just enveloped in bright red and orange flame. Smoke is pouring out of windows and doors. It is incredibly hot. Thankfully, because of your boots of the Winterlands, the worst of this heat does not affect you, but there is still choking smoke everywhere. Roll me a fortitude saving throw as you start making your way through to see how well you weather this smoke.
15.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, for this first one, you're good. You take your water skin, wet a handkerchief, wrap it around your mouth, and you rush in there with Olga riding beside you. And yeah, you roll me a search check to try to find signs of life, if that is your intention.
That is my intention.
Fantastic.
14.
Cool. So you see as you make your way through.
I would
Describe to me what you're doing here. How are you going about this?
Essentially, I think I probably would want to kind of concentrate on the most on fire houses first.
Sure.
And like depending on the size of the house, like smaller houses, I am like kicking down the front door,
absolutely,
and yelling and seeing if I hear a response, and then moving on to the next one. And then once I get to like bigger houses, that'll be a little bit more of a search.
Sure.
But I have also a dog with me to help me search.
Fantastic. So as Olga zips around on the back of her hound, racing between these homes to search the side streets and back alleys, you run down a street. You're kicking in doors, shouting out for any survivors. You don't get any responses. These houses are all surprisingly empty, especially the outskirts of town. As you make your way in farther into the town, you start to see signs of what looks like a struggle. There are discarded tools, bits of clothing. You see a child's doll laying in the street. You see an overturned cart. There are definitely signs that there of townsfolk, of people here, but there doesn't seem to be anyone inside the buildings. As you make your way in and you're dedicating more time to a thorough search, you are able to see sort of a pattern to what's going on. You get closer to the town center, and for one thing, you see the sort of central cause of this fire. You start to see the heart of this blaze in this broad courtyard in front of this giant 3-story building. It looks like an inn with a foundation of black stone. You see in this courtyard a enormous brazier, some 20 feet wide, has been set out, and inside this brazier is a pile some 40 feet high, just recklessly thrown together, a pile of burning books, scrolls, placards. There's bits of wood, bits of paper. You can barely see the outlines of some of them. It looks like it's been raging hot and heavy for a while, but you see the remnants of just a whole lot of writing in this enormous brazier that is burning fitfully, just raging through. And you can see bits of this gigantic fire have been blown by the wind into some of the nearby buildings, which is what causes conflagration. So you've found the root of it. You also see the patterns of all the debris, all of the stuff left behind, a coin purse here, a hat there, that it all is heading towards the doors of that inn. And you can see that there are 2 wagons that have been wedged against the doors of the inn on the outside. Why don't you roll me a listen check real quick?
5.
Okay. Over the crackling of the flames, you don't hear anything, but you do notice that this gigantic building, which the top levels of which are on fire, has been blocked from the outside with 2 enormous wagons. Olga swings around and says, "There is no one else here. It looks like the town has been abandoned. There are no one in any of the buildings."
I think I know where everyone is.
Cut to Rilla, Long Shadow. You are in halfling form on the back of a borrowed Mastiff from the Hilltopple clan. You notice immediately that this is maybe the most well-trained dog you've ever interacted with. It does not snap, bark, or bite. It does not yip. It stands stock still until you mount, and then it flies like an arrow. Why don't you go ahead and roll me a ride check just for fun, just because I want to see how well this goes.
Be good.
No, probably not.
All right. Oh, nat 20. 23.
Holy shit.
I have a secret gift for this.
This is the best thing ever. Yeah, you mount up, you become halfling size with your magic, which by the way freaks the shit out of all the hilltopples that see that. They're like, oh, okay, what happened? Is that... Who the fuck is that? You mount up, and Helga, who is accompanying you, the black-haired daughter of Inga Hilltopple, kind of gives you a side eye, like, all right, you want to just borrow a dog? I guess we'll see what you've got. And then you ride with perfect form and grace. You are swinging in the saddle. You are holding yourself up with your thighs. You are absolutely dominating, perfectly one with this dog, and you make great time. You and Helga, who's actually like, okay, shit. You ride like you've done this your whole life. By the way, all the Hilltopple clan just sounds the same. Y'all gonna have to get used to that. Anyway. So you guys take off like bullets, and very, very quickly, after just a few minutes, you're able to get pretty close to this group of people that you are trying to catch up to. They are hauling ass. They are mounted on horses and camels, and they are very heavily armed and armored. You make your way across a couple sand dunes. Helga motions at you and directs you to kind of skirt around them, not directly behind, and you come upon a rise where you get a pretty good sight line on them about 500 feet away, and you see there is a force of 50 people.
Oh, shit.
Wearing jet black armor with red detail work along it. They are all bald and not wearing helmets, and they all have swords at their hips, and a good half of them are holding torches. Even while mounted on their horses and camels, half of them are holding torches, plumes of smoke coming out from them aloft like they were banners. You see that there is a figure in front leading this group. It seems to be a slight figure in crimson red and orange robes, again with a bald head, and the robes are incredibly long, streaming behind them as they ride on a horse which is also covered in red and orange, like a tabard, I think is what it's called, like a horse blanket streaming out behind them. And
This is such a Parker character.
because Parker's a pyro.
Pyro who always has long flowing everything.
Because
Yeah.
you need long flowing everything.
Yeah.
Hair, robes, whatever. Yeah, okay.
And this figure in front is actually carrying a banner. And on this gigantic banner is a design, an emblem. You see a stone tower with crenellations that is engulfed in a large orange flame. That is a banner you see. They are marching in lockstep, tight formation, fully disciplined, in full armor despite the heat of the desert and the sun raging down on them, holding torches and moving swiftly away from the town. What do you do? That's what you see.
Do I have any way of knowing what that banner... I only have knowledge arcana, so probably not, right?
I can say that you have never seen that banner before.
Okay. I ask which child is with me? Not child, adult woman. See, now I'm doing it.
Racist, because they're halflings.
I know, they're just as big as you
It's
are.
more just that they're the children of someone.
Sure.
But yeah.
Which of the Hilltopple daughters? Helga is with you, yes.
Okay. I asked Helga if she knows who they are, or if she's seen a banner like that before.
I have not seen that banner before, but I've heard stories. I did not think they were real. There are ghost stories of a group of fallen paladins, warriors who worship the flame. They're called the Knights of the Pyre. I did not think that they were real. I thought they were a ghost story. It is said that they come into an area like a bad dream. They scoop up every bit of knowledge of the old writing, anything they can find with glyphs or runes upon it, and they burn it to purify it. Heard of these things in our travels across the Isle of Meosha, but I've never seen them before. This is horrible. Look, get down quickly. And Helga ducks down behind a dune, like throws herself out of the saddle and hits the dirt. Do you do the same?
Yeah.
Why don't you roll me a high check real quick?
Oh, dear.
Does she get the racial bonus?
For being a halfling? Yeah.
I do?
You get +4?
+4.
You get +4 to high checks because you're small.
Excellent.
Because you've altered your shape into a halfling. Boy, that's a really good spell.
So my height's a 22.
Jesus. Yeah, so you throw yourself to the sand following Helga's example, and Helga's like breathing hard, and you see a bird come sweeping over the dune that you were just hiding behind. It swoops very high up, and luckily you guys have thrown yourselves in the shadow of this tall dune, but it swoops high up and almost seems to come into almost seems to see you. It hovers low on the thermals of the desert air, a little too close to your position, and then swoops back. You can see it has this very distinctive, just fiery orange tail feathers, and it swoops back down. You lift your head up, and it alights on the arm of the robed figure that is leading the column of the Knights of the Pyre. And Helga says, "That was close." Yeah. Cut to Zurabak. Zurabak, Hector has run off to see to the town of Blackrock and investigate if there are any survivors. Rilla has taken off on the back of a very fast hound to investigate the large force that it was seen rushing off from the city. What are you doing?
Also, I turned into a halfling in front of you, which I've never done before.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know that you can't do that.
That's a good point. Yeah, sorceress, right? Yeah, anything you do, not surprised. Yeah, sorceress. I don't give. She's got 3 eyeballs now. Yeah, sorceress. It's just whatever. Yeah, Zurabak, were you doing anything?
Walking?
You were walking after the force of people, or walking towards the town? Which way were you going?
Probably along the upper ridge of the town.
Oh, okay. So you were going and climbing up on the Blackrock?
Yeah.
Cool. So you ring around the town as Hector rushes into the heart of it. You ring around the town to the large spur of black rock that juts out of it. And are you looking for anything in particular, or are you just kind of just walking around?
Just meandering.
Understood. Cool. No, I dig that. So you meander, and you see that this stone is... Roll me knowledge nature real quick.
I have that.
I would certainly hope so.
19.
Okay, that's very good. You can see that this stone is actually very, 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 very old, obviously, but it's also 100% pure obsidian, which you don't see very often, especially this large. This is one gigantic spike of pure obsidian, which has somehow uncovered itself from the sand. You can tell that it is ancient. It probably goes down hundreds, if not thousands of feet into the sand. It's like the tip of an iceberg, if you will. And you also notice as you meander around this giant spur of rock, which is perfectly positioned to shelter the town from the sandstorms that rage through this desert. You start to hear something. You start to hear a cackling as you make your way up this spur of rock. I'd make you roll a listen check, but it is so fucking loud and so apparent that it just wanders down to your ears. You hear this incredibly loud, just cackling. It sounds maniacal, it sounds insane, and it's coming from the ridge above you. What would you like to do?
I guess meander that way.
Cool. Are you attempting stealth at all, or are you just wandering over?
Just wandering over.
Cool. So you make your way up. It's not that hard. It's got at a lovely slant, and you just casually make your way up this spur of rock. It's got very sharp. It's got these lovely flat like facets and these very sharp angles on it. It is like a spur of rock. There's parts that seem razor sharp, and it reflects the sun on this side very brightly in certain ways. It sort of glitters like a gemstone almost. It's quite a sight. And as you round one of the corners, one of these sharp facets, making your way up this spur of stone, you see the cause of the cackling. There is a bald man, no hair on his head, no hair on his eyebrows. Looks to be a human male, about his 30s, that is staring up at the sun and cackling with a maniacal glint. His eyes are wide, his lips are chapped, and he has been, it looks like, tied up and left here. His wrists and ankles are bound. He's lying on his back, staring straight up into the sun on this spur of rock, and does not seem to notice you approach whatsoever. He's wearing basically rags, and there is a strange symbol that seems to be branded in the side of his neck, and it looks to be a tower, a crenellated tower with the shape of a flame around it. That's what you see. What do you do?
Look at him. Look up at the sun.
It doesn't seem to be that funny. Now, it's humorous, but it's definitely not that funny. So something's off.
I poke him with my stick.
Yeah, you do. It's been so long. It's amazing. You poke him with your stick, and he stops laughing, and he sort of jolts, and his eyes, still just wide as hell, slowly turn towards you. They are red. They seem incredibly dry, but he still is barely blinking, and with his weathered face and the cracked skin of his lips, turns to you and says, Did they come back for me? Are you salvation? Did they send you to take me to the final resting place?
I look back up at the sun, and I look back at him. No.
What must I do? And we're going to cut back to Hector. Hector the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates. You have used your forensic skills to determine that, yeah, there's a gigantic building that seems to have weathered the worst of the fire because of its stone foundations. The large double doors have been blocked from the outside by two very large wagons, and the bric-a-brac that the townsfolk seem to have left lead in that direction. What do you do?
I approach the wagons, and then I grab one of the wagons with my bare hands, and then I make the vein in my neck pop out, and then I pull it out of the way.
Now, when you say make the vein in your neck pop out, do you mean that you go into a barbarian rage?
pretty angry at whoever blocked all these people in a building.
Fantastic.
That I'm pretty sure is what happened.
So you've spent enough time in this town investigating and especially passing by this giant brazier, which is the heart of this fire. The smoke is very, very thick here, and it's getting harder to breathe. Go ahead and roll me another fortitude saving throw. 19. Man, that's even better than the first time. Yeah, you're totally fine. You approach these double door. I really like this scene. So, like, you see the wagon, you do the mental math, and you're like, holy shit. The people are probably in there. And I like to imagine that as soon as that realization comes into your head, you just immediately bulk up. You, like, grow and rush over to the door, and you're just going to lay hands on that first wagon and try to move it out of the way?
Yes.
So the wheels have been blocked up. The axle is snapped, almost like they didn't want it to move easily. Go ahead and roll me a strength check to move this thing with your rage stats included, of course.
24.
Holy shit. Hector, the gatekeeper, you rush forward screaming your barbarian war cry, and you grab this first wagon, and in the midst of your blind rage, you flex your muscles. The vein in your neck does, in fact, pop out, and you lift this thing over your fucking head and throw it to the side where it smashes onto the cobbles of the courtyard you're in, leaving one more wagon pinned against the door.
Hey Hector, what's your war cry?
Oh yeah, do you have a catchphrase you scream when you go into a rage? That's a very, very good question.
I kind of was just imagining him screaming like politeness.
For the kids!
Excuse me.
No, he's clearly yelling about some sort of gate that needs keeping.
He's not wrong.
Maybe opening this gate.
Gate must be kept!
Well, I mean, right now he's opening a gate, technically.
That's true. No, I mean, keeping a gate is opening or closing, holding fast, holding open, as long as you're keeping the gate, you know? Anyway.
Pretty sure he's destroying the gate.
Look, we're in a very dramatic moment here. Let's stay on point. So as you hurl this first wagon out of the way, Olga is next to you on the back of her dog, and she's like, holy shit. Do you want to try to move that next wagon?
I would.
She's just gaping at you. Yeah, all right.
Try and
roll another strength check.
Okay. 14.
Okay, this one you're having a little more trouble with. There is a lot of choking smoke. It is pouring out of the upper story of this building, the top floors of which are on fire, and you are grabbing very hot wood. I mean, these wagons are burning a little bit too. There's some cinders on them. It is hot. You grab it, and it budges a little bit. You're straining your muscles, and it moves just a bit, but it is not free yet. Go ahead and roll me another fortitude save against the smoke before we try to get this thing, because you are in the heart of this blaze.
26.
Okay.
Will that be enough?
Yeah, you suck in a lungful of smoke, and you just let it out. Yeah, you're 420 blazing it. You don't give a fuck. No, you're totally fine. Roll me another strength check.
I close my eyes and I think back to one of those times. There were many. It's hard to nail it down to just one, but I think back to one of those times in which I was doing something and everybody in my clan, especially my family, was cheering me on.
Oh, Hector, Hector, Hector. The love and the power of the Gatekeeper clan flows into your heart.
In my mind. And 14.
Yeah, it's a struggle. You are weathering the blazing inferno of this very well, but even, I mean, the fire is so hot that even with your boots of the Winterlands, even with the magic you have to protect you against crazy heat and cold, this is maxing the shit out. You are sweating buckets. There's barely any water left in your body. You're straining every muscle you have. Olga, seeing you strain against this, to her credit, she takes out some rope from her pack, makes a lasso, hooks it around one end of this wagon, ties it to the saddle of her dog, and says, "Ha!" and starts pulling as best she can to help you out. The wagon starts budging a little bit. Let's try for one more. Let's see if we can get this.
I'm
I
half hoping for 14
have the power. 10.
All right, yeah, that's actually fine.
again. They all die inside.
When you are raging, your strength is 22, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Your strength score goes from 18 to 22? Okay, so this is, instead of the incredible deadlift right from nothing, like clean jerk shit you did with the first wagon, which was impressive, this is just sustained effort, and with Olga's help, yeah, you are able to slowly but ploddingly drag this fucking thing, scraping its ruined axle and bent wheels over the fucking cobblestones of this courtyard, and you're able to finally shift this thing's weight enough that it is out of the way of the doors. As soon as you get this thing out of the way, one of the doors bursts open, and you see a very weathered elderly woman with a very burned wide-brimmed hat, like very singed, and a leather vest with a gold star affixed to it. She comes out and says, "Sir, I don't know who the hell you are, but you just saved our lives. Come on, we gotta get the fuck out of here." And she waves, and a flood of people come rushing out of this inn. You see a bunch of terrified men, women, children. There's some humans, a couple of gnomes. You see a dwarf or two come hustling out of this inn, and this elderly woman with this very burned hat that she has not taken off of her head starts, making sure, like, everyone, like, move, clocking everybody out of there. They start moving en masse out of the town, and Olga retrieves her lasso and starts guiding the people out of town. "Follow me, I know the clearest route, come on." And yeah, they start rushing out of there. As you're watching this happen, Book kind of sniffs the air and cocks his head to the side, and just as this woman with the gold star on her vest takes motions the last person out, she tips her hat to you and runs off. Book sniffs the air, cocks his head to the side, and rushes into the inn. What do you do?
I follow him immediately.
Yes, you do. Rilla Longshadow, we're back to you. You are in the desert, the Raging Sands. You have just witnessed this column of warriors, the Knights of the Pyre, this horrible fairy tale that your merchant friend has heard of in her travels. You are hunkered down behind a sand dune as they are hundreds of feet away from you, making their way forward through the desert. Helga says, "Well, we know the culprits. That's, I guess, something, but I don't know what to do. We obviously cannot take them ourselves."
No. I wanted to make sure they hadn't taken the villagers when they left. And they don't appear to have done that, so we should probably get the fuck out of here before they find us.
I think that is a very good idea. Yes, let us go. Yes, quickly now.
Yep.
So Helga jumps in the back of her mount and takes off, and you do the same. Why don't you go ahead and roll me another ride check?
Ooh. That's 21.
Jesus Christ. Like you were born in the saddle. At this point, Helga's like, "Hey, do you have any tips?" Or I noticed how well you ride. I just wonder if you have any like
You know,
pointers for.
something about being a halfling just really seems to work for me.
I cannot believe how well you've taken to the
Yeah.
saddle. It is, especially in this awkward new body you have. I mean, I assume it is awkward for you as it is new. What? Many questions. We'll settle this later. Many,
Yeah, it's
many questions for you. But yeah, you guys make great time. You zip back. It takes you no time at all. These dogs are very fast and very well trained, and you're riding excellently. In no time at all, you get back to the outskirts of the town of Blackrock, where you now see there is a very large crowd of people. A very large crowd. About 200 people, men, women, and children, are now streaming out of the outskirts of this city. And they're sort of pulling up around the merchant caravan that the Hilltopples and Sebastian make up. And you see that Sebastian is actually rushing around and, to his credit, healing some folks. He's talking to people. He's milling about, trying to use his limited healing skills to bring some relief to people. Inga is also rushing out with emergency blankets and water and seeing to everybody's needs. Looks like the whole Hilltopple clan is surrounding these townsfolk as they watch their town burn. What do you do?
Do I see Zurabak or... No, I don't see anybody.
You do not see either of the other protagonists, and boy, do I love that. Woo! Ow!
So I race up to Sebastian and ask where Zurabak and Hector are.
Oh, Rilla, thank goodness. I'm so relieved. Did you see who did this?
Yeah, it's a bunch of terrifying paladins that we definitely can't fight.
Paladins? Paladins are supposed to be good aligned. The people here said they were terrible black...
evil paladins? I had to ask because I, haven't traveled much, but have you heard of the Knights of the Pyre?
Sebastian goes absolutely white. He goes pale. He stops talking immediately. He drops the water skin and the healing herbs that were in his hands, and he just stares at you wide-eyed. Hey, you're now eye level. That's great.
Yeah.
So he's it's amazing. He stares you wide-eyed, completely white. He says, the Knights of the Pyre?
Yep.
They did this?
Yeah.
The townsfolk said there was a group of black-clad warriors that came in and
banners of a tower on fire,
the Knights,
bald, big robes.
The Knights of the Pyre burn every scrap of writing that they come across. They are the enemies of all knowledge.
Good thing they don't know about our book, huh?
This is terrible. This is dreadful. Not only is this town burned down, but I'm sure every single item with a single rune on it has been absolutely destroyed. This is horrible. These poor people, the legacy. I need to sit down. I've been through so much today. And he wanders off, and he pulls his backpack off of his shoulders, and he reaches in, and you can see as he's walking away from this throng of people towards his wagon of wonders, he's pulling out the grimoire and just checking to make sure it's still there.
Not subtle.
Yeah, no, not at all. Cut to. So, did you want to? So yeah, you relay that information to Sebastian. He freaks the fuck out, and he goes to his little wagon.
Hector, Zurabak, you didn't answer the question.
Has
anybody seen?
Oh
Hector,
shit! Yeah.
Zurabak.
This is where Inga comes up. Hector ran directly into the heart of the inferno.
Of course he did.
Well, he of course saved this entire group of people.
Of course he did.
I'm not sure what else he's doing. Zurabak, I think, wandered in the opposite direction. He walked off toward that giant spur of rock over there. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing, but yes. Here, if you wouldn't mind, will you help me pass out the water for these poor people?
I guess. Sure.
If there is a better use for your particular skills, I'd hate to keep you here on,
I'm gonna go get Zurabak, who can heal, correct? Kind of?
If you can convince that sourpuss to be of any service to humanity, please, yes, do whatever you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do that.
Cool. So you zip off, still on the back of a riding dog, still as
Yes.
a halfling. How long does that spell last?
40 minutes.
That's pretty good.
And I can cast it. It's my only second level spell. So I can cast it 4 times a day.
Yeah, if you want to zip over there, it's been about 40 minutes since you went
cast
there.
it again.
Fantastic. So you
This
zip
time
over.
I'm a boy, though.
You are a halfling boy on the back of a riding dog. And you zip over to the rocky spur. All right, so Zurabak, you're staring at this middle-aged human man dressed in rags with a strange emblem burned into the side of his neck, branded there. His wide-eyed, cracked skin tied up, dressed in rags, and staring up at the sun, laughing hysterically. You poke him. He asks you if you're here to grant him his final reward. And he's just staring at you. Did the great flame send you? Are you not my reward? I served. I served. I did. I led the way. I paved the way for the flame. Have I not done my work?
No.
What more must I do? The sun, it burns, the glorious burn. If you are not the messenger of the next world, what are you? What do you want from me? What more can I give?
Zurabak unravels Snake.
Oh,
I would like our listeners to remember that Snake is now large.
He's a big boy. He got fat.
Snake is now 10 feet long, and
just in a giant sack all the time now?
He can't fit in a sack anymore.
yeah, Snake now just travels along next to you, huh? Because
He's too slow.
do you carry him?
I carry him.
So you have a large, venomous serpent.
I don't go fast.
Sure.
Just constantly on you, you have a 10-foot snake.
He has a snake bandolier, and it's fucking incredible. He's not a boa constrictor. I mean, he's super long, but, he could be a little... No, that's fucking amazing. So, yeah, so you uncoil Snake from your form, and Snake obediently traipses down, and what?
I look at Snake.
Mm-hmm.
Go bite Sebastian. Little bit. Not all bit. Little bit.
Okay. Snake.
Then come back.
Okay. Snake wanders off back towards the Wagon of Wonders. Now, as a player in Dungeons & Dragons, you have the agency to do whatever you wish. I, as a Dungeon Master, am just very curious. How come? What's the game plan?
There's a crazy man tied to a rock.
Sure.
That's not Zurabak's business.
You are hoping that Snake will bite Sebastian a little bit and come back, and that's you sending a messenger pigeon.
And that'll make Sebastian the most cowardly person in the group come running to follow the snake that bit him.
Hopefully, someone else notices.
He'll get the message. Okay, so...
Did you get that thing I sent you?
So Snake takes off, slithering down this spur of stone to go fetch Sebastian. It's going to take him a little bit.
Yeah, he moves at 20, but he also has a climb speed.
Sure, yeah.
So, he's a snake.
He makes okay time. While he's doing that, it's gonna take a little bit. This man just keeps babbling about his reward, about how he paved the way for the flame. He was the herald as commanded. Do you talk to this guy, or are you just watching him?
kind of want to antagonize him.
Well, what does Zurabak say to antagonize this poor man?
Well, clearly you failed.
You cannot fool me. You're here to test my faith. I will not be turned aside from the path. I brought the flame here. The Lord of Embers, he came to me.
And tied you to a rock. You failed.
I see the smoke from the great conflagration. The way has been made clear. The knowledge, the dark, perverted ruins, they burn. They burn as the Lord of Embers intended, and it is due to me.
Then why are you tied to a rock?
It is my reward. I am to be given to the greatest of flames. My earthly form will transcend this wretched world. I will be purified.
Nope. You're just gonna be on a rock. Soon to be corpse on a rock.
That's amazing. Are you trying to roll some like checks on this? Or you just fucking with him?
I don't know. Fuck. Do
Okay.
you want me to roll some checks?
I'm saying, like, are you literally just antagonizing him, or you could roll in intimidation or diplomacy or something to try to break through his psychosis? You said this isn't your thing, but like, do you want to try to get some info from this guy? Do you want to try to kowtow him to your will? Like, do you want to, or are you literally just fucking with him? What's your intention?
I want him to realize how pitiful and worthless he is.
Okay. That would be diplomacy.
Really?
I mean, he's tied to a rock.
Yeah, he's trying to convince him
Yeah.
of a thing.
Yeah. He's not like, hey, say you're an asshole or I'll kill you. You're
That would
literally trying to convince this man of his shit. You're trying to, navigate his psychosis. Yeah, that'd be a diplomacy check.
D for diplomacy.
D for diplomacy.
Charisma plus 1, 12.
12, okay.
Woo.
This man, you try to convince this man of the actual situation he's in. Listen, motherfucker, you are tied to a rock, your friends are gone, and this is nothing. You're being killed, and this guy does not buy it. He is not.
Once I realize this, I just keep poking him with my stick.
Cool. You are here to test my faith and will not be tested.
Sure. Poke.
That's amazing. As you start poking this man, you do see a short humanoid male show up. You see one of the hilltopples show up in the back of a riding dog.
Very attractive, though.
Yeah, a very
Who
attractive.
says they aren't very attractive?
And blonde.
You see a very attractive blonde halfling male.
April is always a blonde.
Right up. Oh, that's a great signifier. I love that. Right up on the back of a riding dog, entering the scene, and we're gonna cut to Hector the Gatekeeper.
I just
I
look
run
over.
into the house immediately after my dog.
You run to your house immediately after your dog. Book is barking incredibly loud and sniffing the air, and Book rushes into the inn, which is fucking full of smoke. Roll me another fortitude save, because it is very bad.
Yeah. 9.
Okay.
Rolled a 2 on the dice.
That's
yeah.
still very impressive.
It's pretty impressive. So you are going to take, let's see. You are going to take 6 points of non-lethal damage
I'm
from
out.
smoke inhalation. What? Oh my God, Brian! Jesus Christ! Holy shit! I actually believed
And
you.
that's how Hector died.
Yeah.
Well done. That was nice.
God,
Nice
got
touch.
you seriously got me. Jesus Christ! I've been doing this for 15 years.
No,
You got me.
I'm almost out. I only have 40 hit points left.
Okay, I get it. Jesus. So you rush into this burning building. You are in the common room of a very large and what used to be a very lovely inn. There's a broad bar in the back wall with a lovely glass mirror that is fucking melting. There are bottles of liquor just smashed everywhere. There are tables and chairs burning. There are large timbers from the roof that have fallen in, and there is smoke everywhere. You do start to hack and cough and choke on it. Book is much lower to the ground than you are and is taken off and shoots behind the bar into a door there. You follow suit, obviously.
Yes.
And he zigzags around some debris and makes his way into the kitchens. And there is a large cauldron. It is upturned. It's upside down, and there is a gigantic burning timber that has landed on top of it, wedging it into the stone fireplace. Book is staring at this thing, pointing at it like a hunting dog and barking furiously, and you hear over the roar of all this fire a young girl screaming inside of this cauldron. What do you do?
I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my mace.
Your mace?
Maul.
Whoa! Come on, Hector. That's a mace. It's been a maul the whole time. I can't believe you do that.
And I said maul originally. That's what the edit's going to show.
Oh yeah, hold on.
So
hold on. Let's get a clean take on that.
Well, she's in a cauldron. I figured you were going to pull out the appropriate herbs and spices.
Damn.
That's a Zurabak move.
That is. I pull out my maul, and I move to smash the beam that is pinning the cauldron in place.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. So, I'm not going to make you roll an attack roll for this. Roll damage for your maul, you raging bastard. This is swing 1.
Uh, 12 points of damage.
Okay, so you grab your maul and you see this giant burning timber and you swing at it. There's a lovely resounding crack. It jostles the cauldron a bit, and you hear the what's happening? Someone help, please! And you get a nice satisfying crack out of it. You start to make your way through some of this timber. As you swing and move this timber, a large chunk of the ceiling falls down on top of you. Roll me a reflex saving throw to avoid burning, falling debris.
20.
Damn, yeah, okay. Some of the ceiling comes down and you expertly spin out of the way. You throw your maul up above your head and just pivot at the last minute and roll another damage roll as you get your second swing on this timber.
18 points of damage this time. It's 18.
That's very good. You flex your muscles, and seeing this roof coming down, you swing again, smashing into this timber. You break it almost in half. There's a huge spray of sparks and embers as you start smashing your way through this timber. All of the weight is almost off of this cauldron, but the resounding impact again shifts some stuff, and this gigantic gust of smoke, this huge billowing cloud of it, rushes in from a side room and smashes against your face. Roll me a fortitude saving throw from this choking smoke.
20.
Okay. You are unaffected by this, weathering the storm completely, and give me let's do another swing number 3.
16 points of damage.
Fantastic. With that, you annihilate this roof timber with 3 swings while choking down smoke and dodging embers falling from the ceiling. You 1, 2, 3 annihilate this timber. You smash it to flaming splinters, leaving this giant cauldron that is upside down, sort of wedged in this hearth. What do you do?
I going to flip that cauldron, Alex.
You flip the cauldron, and you win an NPC. Yeah, you flip this cauldron over. It is gigantic. It's huge. It's like a fucking like witch's cook pot. It's enormous. It's like 15 feet across. You grab this thing and strain every muscle to flip it over, and you see there is an 8-year-old girl. Her face just covered in soot, and with little, paths carved through it made by tears. She's snotting and weeping and sobbing, and she looks up at you with gigantic wet eyes, just like, get me out of here, mister!
No.
Yeah, is this a Rorschach moment? It's like the end of Dishonored. It's like, I'm not saving. No. I've gone too far at this point. Let her fall. No, sorry. What do you do? I might have to cut that out. It's not good.
I just, got a great big goofy smile on my face, and I just say, it will all be all right, and scoop her up, hold her low to keep her out of the smoke,
Yes.
and just, leave. I leave.
Cannonball run. Yeah.
Yes.
So Book takes the fuck off, and leaves you behind like a rude motherfucker.
Like a good dog.
Yeah. So you scoop this girl up and make your way towards the exit. Just as you do, another burning timber falls from the ceiling, blocking the door out. You are now cradling this girl in your arms as the door you came through has been blocked, and we're gonna cut to
Me posing
Rilla-
heroically as a boy.
Rilla Longshadow. You are in the form of a beautiful halfling boy with sandy blonde hair. Captain Morgan posing on this beautiful obsidian rock spur next to your faithful hound. And you see Zurabak aggressively poking a middle-aged human man, bald, with no eyebrows, a very familiar symbol branded in the side of his neck, clad in rags, tied hand and foot on the back of this rock.
I really want to go, what ho, Zurabak? I've never been a boy before. This is delightful.
That all happens in fiction, in character. And Zurabak, what do you say? This halfling dude just said, I've never been a boy before.
I'm looking at him. I just poke the guy harder.
Yeah, so this gentleman tied up is screaming like, "You're another tempter here to test my faith. I am pure. I will transcend."
I poke him.
Ugh.
Jab. I jab him.
Ugh.
Jesus, it's always a jab. Always a jab with you.
He started it.
Did he, though? Because he's tied up.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, it's Rilla. I have a dick right now, but it's fine. It's magic.
I poke the guy again while staring worriedly. Then look up to the sun for a good moment or two.
You don't have heat stroke, I promise. I have a new spell. It's really cool.
I poke the guy again.
It's that great grow penis spell. It's very useful. So, yeah.
Useful for those nights when you're out drinking and the line's just too long in the ladies.
Nice.
So what's going on?
Got a crazy guy.
Mm-hmm. And you're making him crazier?
I look down at the guy. Nah, he's stagnant.
That's very good.
Okay. Does he look like the guys that I saw?
He is bald, and he has the symbol of the Knights of the Pyre branded into the side of his neck.
I'm his reward. And I jab him harder.
Starting to get
terrible reward.
Starting to get a real big bruise.
Oh, I'm jabbing him in other places.
Oh, okay.
Sensitive places.
But really, you can tell this guy's obviously affiliated with the Knights of the Pyre in some way, shape, or form. You're not exactly sure why they would leave him here strapped to...
He failed.
What did he fail at? Did you give me any info?
Life.
Okay.
Do you break down what this dude's been babbling about?
Oh, I'm sure he screams it at her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair. You are a little...
At the moment.
Yeah, while
Same.
this poor fuck is screaming and babbling, he goes on and on about how he led the way for the divine flame. He will transcend this world and become one with the great conflagration. His the Lord of Embers tasked him with a sacred mission. His is the will and the way. He made this place sacred. You can tell by this guy's babbling that this dude was probably like a plant, an inside agent. This guy probably led the Knights of the Pyre here or somehow set this shit up for them to make it in easier. You can tell this guy's a mole of some sort.
Every time he says something stupid like becoming one with the flame, I poke him.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I sent for help.
How did you do that? Did I pass the snake on the way here?
Oh, you absolutely did.
Is that what Snake's doing? Because I passed Snake. He seemed to have a mission.
Yep.
What's he doing?
Getting help.
Okay. Do we need more info from this guy? What do you want to do? It seems like he probably
I'm enjoying myself.
killed all these people. Tried to kill all these people.
Oh
burn the
yeah,
village down.
he's a failure.
What's law like in this world?
There is a sheriff in this town. So if you wanted to, enact some justice, in the traditional sense, you could bring this crazy fuck to the sheriff.
I kind of wander off by like a rock or something.
Okay.
And I cast another alter self. And I try to look like the leader that I saw.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my goodness.
I approve.
That's very good. You need to roll a disguise check right now.
I get a plus 10
You get a
to my
plus 10 on
disguise,
your
though.
disguise. You do.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Ooh, nat 20.
Elizabeth Jane Duffin.
I got a 33 on my disguise.
Holy shit. What is even happening? Okay. So Rilla Longshadow, you go behind a large facet of this giant onyx spur of stone, and you cast Alter Self, changing yourself into the leader of the Knights of the Pyre that you saw earlier, leading the column through the desert, and you stroll back around. A perfect replica, a perfect likeness. As soon as this crazy bound man sees you around this corner, they straighten up, struggle against their bonds to sit up against the spur of rock and say, Lord of Embers, you've returned! My salvation is truly at hand! I told you I was a faithful servant! I served the eternal flame!
Still a failure.
Please grant me my transcendence. The town of Blackrock burns. The people are surely dead at this point. The perversions of the runes are decimated. Have I not served?
Sorry, that's delightful.
That's very good.
What do I say? My son, your faith will be rewarded. Your deeds, should be recorded for the glory of the flame. I need you to recount them for me.
That's very, very good. Of course, Lord of Embers. First I plugged up the well and broke all of the water pumps that no one could fight off the glory of the flames. I waited until the local festival till all of the townsfolk were at the inn, and I helped to lock them in there. I got everyone good and drunk so none of the sheriff's men could defend the town. And then I gave a sketch of the town that I made to your soldiers. I sent it out that you would know the layout of the town, and I helped you ambush surrounding the town during the night of the festival. When you swept in, I persuaded the townsfolk to give up their perverted, tainted glyphs and runes. I denoted where all of them were kept, and I showed you the stockpile in the evil mayor's mansion. We rounded up all of the documents, all of the writings in the town, and made a giant pyre. We locked up all the townsfolk left over in the inn, and then we set fire to it all. Then I came to this great spur of stone and awaited the sun, the great conflagration in the sky, to purify my form, that I may ascend. Have I not served? Have I not done the work of the Lord of Embers? Am I truly a member of the Knights of the Pyre?
You have earned your spot. And then I knock him out.
Fantastic. Cut to Hector the Gatekeeper, because y'all are sharing a scene now. You're poking, it's great.
Can we cut to Snake fighting Sebastian?
We cut to Snake. Youch! What in heaven's name? Oh, I get it. Fine. Cut to Hector the Gatekeeper. There is a giant...
Oh, my path's been blocked. Ah!
Yeah. There's a
Okay,
giant...
I'm back in the scene.
There's a giant burning timber blocking your seemingly only means of escape. You are in the kitchens. It is towards the back of the building. The door you came in has been blocked now by a giant burning timber. There is the hearth that the cauldron was wedged in, which has since been removed. It's a stone hearth. And there are 4 walls that are blackened with jets of flame running along them. But you can tell that you're towards the back of the building.
Does the hearth appear to lead into a chimney?
It does indeed.
Okay. I'm gonna... How big is it?
It's big enough for a Hector the Gatekeeper to climb through.
Okay.
That cauldron was like 15 feet across. This is a very large hearth.
Okay. Yeah, scoop up the little girl.
Reverse
and
Santa Claus?
I reverse Santa Claus.
I'm going to need you to roll me a climb check.
23.
Holy shit.
Wait,
Yeah. You're raging.
25.
Okay. You scoop this... you said you put the girl on your back, right? Or how are you doing this?
I am holding her close with one arm. I'm doing a one-armed climb.
Yes,
what
you
I'm
are.
doing
You're crossfitting.
to, like,
Sure.
You know, protect her from flames or any debris that falls. Like, I am covering as much of her.
Yeah. You cling this girl close to your chest, and with your gigantic raging barbarian muscles, you press your arm and legs against the sides of this hearth, and you climb and climb and climb. The stone is hot. It is burning your hands. You are going to take 10 points of fire damage. As the stone gets hotter, the higher up you go. The upper floors of this place, as I said, are burning, and the stone is getting very, very warm. But you're making incredible progress, leaps and bounds, and you see a small circle of light above you. You've climbed up a good halfway, so roll me one more climb check.
27.
Holy shit. Yeah. You are going to take 10 more. Jesus Christ. 10 more points of
And
damage.
he falls to his death, unconscious.
Crushes the little girl.
You're going to take 10 more points of damage as the skin on your hands sizzle and your knees scrape and elbows scraping against the hot stone of the hearth start to burn. But you eventually climb your way to the top of this stone chimney and you poke your head out, sucking in a breath of air, and just as you do, the roof caves in around you. The supporting structure holding this chimney, this 30-foot tall chimney in place, collapses and the chimney starts to swing downwards towards the ground.
Okay, is there anything else nearby that it's falling near?
Yeah.
Like another building?
Yeah, this inn is actually nestled sort of against the spur of the obsidian rock wall. Would you like to roll a... We're going to call that a reflex saving throw to try to grasp on to something and stop your fall. Or would you like to argue something else?
Jump? I was gonna...
Yeah.
go
Oh,
for a
yeah,
good
absolutely.
jump.
Forgive me. Yeah, roll a jump check. My
Okay.
apologies. You leap powerfully with your big, powerful muscles.
Ooh, 16.
Yeah, that's fine. That's enough. So the chimney, you get to the top of the chimney, the roof collapses, and it starts to slowly swing down, and you brace yourself, and at the very last moment, you jump with this child in your arms from the top of this chimney to a small outcropping of obsidian from this giant spur of black rock, and you land perfectly, teetering a bit like you're going to fall, and then finally come to rest, cradling this child in your arms, and that's where we're going to end. Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into a player character's psychology, anxieties, their joys and fears, and really try to understand them and what makes them who they are. In this segment of the show, we like to ask each of our protagonists a question and see what kind of answers we can get from them, something that might reveal more about them. We're going to take a different tack on this one, where normally we ask each of our protagonist the same question. We're going to do a spotlight on one of our player characters. Today we're going to be talking to Rilla Longshadow. Rilla, thank you for joining us in the studio once again. Always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah. Can I ask why you're standing on top of a chair?
That's a very good question, Rilla. And the reason I'm standing on that... Oh, God, it's back! It's that right there. Do you see it? Do you see it?
No.
You don't see... Oh, shit, I don't see it either. It's under the water again. Okay, so it's like it only shows up out of the corner of your eye. Like, if you don't look direct... What? You know what?
When was the last time you had a good night's rest?
I don't know, actually. I've been awake for a long time. Zurabak brought an empty box in here, and there's something that was in it, and now it's in here, and I don't know. Sorry. Being very unprofessional, I apologize. I'll leave my terrors to myself. I don't think anyone's interested in what's going on in my head.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, if you don't mind, it's kind of filthy in here. As you know, it's been.
Yes.
I'm just gonna cast some precipitation and clean this.
If you would not mind
a bit.
using your sorceress abilities to tidy up,
Yeah.
I would owe you big.
If nothing else, we can get all the dust swept into the water.
Yeah, I guess that's a good place to
So
start.
we have clean spots to sit.
Yeah, if you could get my dials and switches on this board here
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
that's
yeah, no
kinda,
problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of moss growing on that stuff. Okay, well, that's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, to the heart of the matter, the reason we're here, the question. So, This is a question from friend of the show, Spencer. Again, for anyone listening, if you'd like to get a question on the show, you can just email challengerating0@gmail.com. That's challengerating0 the letter O @gmail.com. And if we like your question, it'll be read on the air. So this was sent in by friend of the show, Spencer. Spencer would like to know, Rilla Longshadow, when you first started learning archery, how did you practice? What was your method for teaching, ostensibly yourself mostly, how to master the ancient elven weapon of the bow and arrow?
Well, I had a lot of free time on my hands as a child, since I wasn't really allowed to go anywhere or do much. So when the elders weren't studying me, and everyone else was out having fun in nature, I started sewing and ended up making these really cute little dolls of the village elders.
Oh, well, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Small little sort of...
just little itty bitty dolls, real simple.
Right.
And then I put them all on the roof of my house.
Okay.
And I borrowed Dara's bow and arrows, and I practiced shooting them.
Interesting. Oh, that's
Target practice.
delightful.
Mhm.
Okay, so the village elders that, upon realizing you had sorceress powers, sort of segregated you from the rest of your community, the ones that constantly ran tests on your magical abilities, you mocked up tiny versions of them and used them for target practice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, how detailed were these dolls? We talking hair and clothing, or just sort of simple?
I had a lot
simulacra?
of free time.
Okay, rather detailed, I would assume. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that is
Remember how elves only sleep for like 4 hours a night?
sure.
Sleep, in
You,
quotes. Yeah.
you love reminding us of that every
Yeah.
opportunity.
A lot of time.
So a lot of sleepless nights crafting. I would suppose effigies of the village elders that so separated you from the rest of your tribe. Well, that's very interesting. What did Dara think about that? You borrowing her bow for the first part and then using it on your creepy little dolls.
They weren't creepy.
Of course not. Sharon, they weren't creepy. Sharon, stop it. Sharon, they weren't creepy. She just said they weren't. Sorry.
I think Dara liked loaning me the bow and arrow because it kind of gave her something to hold over me.
Sure.
So it was like she knew about my like little secret and could get me in trouble. She'd probably use it to get a little bit too much like candy and
a rare opportunity for
Yeah.
her to feel superior to her older sister.
right, yeah.
So Dara received her bow, even though she's your younger sister, before you did, and started training before you did.
Right.
Because of your,
Oddity.
yes. Because of being well protected in the gilded
Right.
cage that the village elders
Yeah,
put you
Dara
in.
got to be a normal girl, so
Sure.
she got her bow and arrow young.
Interesting. So you cut your teeth as an archer, venting your spleen, as it were, against effigies crafted to reflect the village elders. I wonder, did it help?
I mean, I was a child, so yeah, it did help some. It was probably the equivalent of like beating up a pillow,
Sure.
but when you're little, you kind of need a way to express yourself. So yeah.
Now, if I may ask a follow-up question, since that is the core of your understanding of archery, since that is the first steps you took in mastering the bow and arrow, something that you use at every opportunity in your current adventures, do you still see the faces of the village elders every time you draw a bead on a target?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So every time you fire your bow, you are picturing the smug, wizened faces of those elders that removed you from the general population, put you on a pedestal, marked you out as different from your elven people, and constantly used you as a subject of study to help reclaim some of the ancient elven magic?
I mean, technically, yeah. It's not really conscious at this point. It's
Sure.
just, my original target practice.
Absolutely. Well, that is a fascinating answer and a really interesting look into your psychology. I appreciate your candor as always, and I hope that you keep shooting straight and just getting them right between the eyes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here before whatever you're seeing comes back.
It was right there. I swear to God, as soon as I look at it, it's only in the corner of my vision. I can't. Wait. Yeah, you know what? You better get out of here. Mm-hmm. Sharon, get the net. Sharon, get the net. I think it's over there. Thank you, as always, for joining us here on As the Dice Turns. And until next time, keep those dice turning. Hey there, dear listeners. Thank you so much for checking back in with us here at Challenge Rating Zero. We apologize for the delay, but between the last episode and this one, the entire world ended. So, it's been a real trip. With coronavirus taking hold, we have been unable to record on our normal schedule. And with the Black Lives Matter protests sweeping the nation, we've been busy donating, attending protests, and I guess I'd just like to take this opportunity with this platform that we've been blessed with to say that I, as a black man, as a dungeon master, as an American, would just like to state our show's solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement, trying to further justice and curb police brutality. This is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart and to the hearts of all people of color. I hope that that is not a shock to anyone out there, but we are a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, and one of the reasons why I first developed a love for this game is because the basis of Dungeons & Dragons is bringing together a band of creatures of many different ethnicities, genders, shapes, sizes, colors, creeds to overthrow evil overlords who want to run roughshod over the rights and dignity of the citizens of a fantasy kingdom. I think that falls pretty much in line with the philosophies of the cultural revolution that's rocking the country. We stand with Black Lives Matter, and yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Our theme song is provided by the dreaded harp wolf, Danielle Taylor Williams, as well as some other music in the show. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com. She has an album out called Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change? You should definitely check that out. It's a real banger. There was some new music on the podcast this time. If you hadn't noticed, that was generously provided by another local musician, Justin Ra. He has an album out called Age of the Spirit. I highly recommend you check that one out as well. You can find his work at justinra.com or on his Facebook page. Just search for Justin Ra. We would like to give a shout out to the Blinders Off podcast, who taught me how to make my own show. They have, I believe, stopped running their intro to podcasting class, so we do not have a coupon code for that particular event due to the dystopian timeline that we are all inhabiting. However, I would highly recommend anyone check out the Blinders Off podcast. You can check them out at blindersoff.show or anywhere you get podcasts. If you would like to reach out to us here at Challenge Rating Zero, you can email us at challengeratingzero, all one word, at gmail.com. That's challengeratingzer, the letter O, at gmail.com. If you have any questions for As the Dice Turns, any queries or quandaries you'd like to pose to our protagonists or any NPCs or myself as a dungeon master, send us an email and your question could be read on the show, like Spencer's was today. If you'd like to find us on Facebook, we are at Challenge Rating Zero. You can find us on Twitter at challenge_ZER, the letter O. Beth can be found on Twitter at Dragon, the letter N, Distress. Brian can be found at Dalabrack, DALABRACK. You can find myself, your humble dungeon master, at Horace Kemp 3. That's HORUSKEMP 3. I would also like to take an opportunity to plug my new website. If you would like to go to samthedm.com, you can find ways to contact me to run a game for you and your friends. For the time being, 50% of any revenue I generate on samthedm.com will go to Black Lives Matter. So if you would like to, patron a black-owned business and also give to the movement, you can head to samthedm.com and find ways to contact me there to set up a game for you and your friends. Due to the coronavirus, we would be playing virtually, but with Skype and Zoom and many other online applications, I promise you I will bring the noise. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We apologize for the delay, but as I said, the world is ending, so we've been having some trouble with our regular recording schedule. We do have a few extras lined up that we're going to throw onto our Patreon, but we're just going to put those in the regular feed. You should be seeing more coming from us in the months to come, and hopefully we'll be back on a regular schedule sometime before the next century. Thank you so very much for listening. We hope that you stick with us, and be safe, be careful, and Black Lives Matter.